Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for your Draftkings and Fanduel slate that we got going on this weekend. This is week 2. We did pretty good on week 1. Before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD. Now let's get started. So just a quick overview of week 1 stacks. If you followed what I said, you should have done well. I gave you Kyler Murray stacks with DeAndre Hopkins. I gave you Jalen Hurts stacks with Devonta Smith. And I gave you Russell Wilson specifically, and I said specifically, Tyler Lockett over Metcalf. I don't care about the narrative of how boomer bust Lockett was, but he definitely was a huge target and a lower owned wide receiver than what Metcalf was going to be, obviously, because all the eyes are going to be on DK Metcalf. But Tyler Lockett is a surefire wide receiver. So let's continue to bring you that good information, that winning information, and this is going to be for week 2 stacks. All right, let's focus in on that, and then after the stacks, my favorite stacks, I'll give you a lot of one-offs to put in your lineup, so you're not, hanging out dry. You got half your lineup full. I will help you with the rest of your lineup. All right. Also, comment down below. These questions and discussions will go throughout the day and into tomorrow. So don't be shy to comment down below. I'll get back to you. All right, first game we're going to focus on. And this one could be defensive, but it has some upside being a offensive game. And a lot of these early games is kind of ugly. The later games, the 4 o'clock games, should be juicy. So the first one we're going to start off with is going to be the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we're going back to the well with Jalen Hurts, as you can see right here, in his first game against Atlanta. Is it the fact that Atlanta's defense is trash, or is that the fact that Jalen Hurts is actually good? So all the bad publicity coming out of Eagles camp, how they're, speculating a trade or they want to bring in more competition. They don't really trust Jalen Hurts. That went out the window in week 1. Impressive performance. 27 completions, 265 yards, 3 passing TDs, which was very nice to see, to go along with 7 rushing attempts, 62 yards. Did get a fumble, but that is okay. We saw some positives out of Jalen Hurts. As long as the speed and talent is around him, he should excel. He had a nice connection with Devonta Smith. Touchdowns to Kenneth Gainwell, which was very impressive. I think Sanders had a solid game as well, getting a lot of usage. So we're going to go back to the well. I love Jalen Hurts. We love Devonta Smith. If we're going to pair Jalen Hurts with anyone, it's going to be their rookie wide receiver, Devonta Smith. That's definitely one of the options. You could do a 1. You could do a 1 with Jalen Hurts, or you could do a 2. If you want to choose the second guy, Rager finished with a very, very solid game, 6 for 49 and a touchdown. He had a nice preseason camp. So if you want to go with both of those guys, I have no problem with that. Jason Verrett, the corner for the 49ers, is out, so they're going to be a little bit shorthanded. He's out for the season. And if you wanted a tight end, Dallas Goedert is a solid option. He is sharing some snaps with Zach Ertz, but Goddard is the elite talent that they have and just waiting for Ertz to go away, all right? So we have some options. You pick and choose if you want to go 1, 2, or 3, but we're going to bring it back with George Kittle, all right? The previous time these two teams met up, George Kittle had a ridiculous day. 43 DraftKings points, 15 receptions, 183 yards, and 1 TD. That is what I'm looking for out of an elite tight end, and he has that possibility to do it yet again in this game, okay? So we're going to bring back with Kittle. I'm just a little bit questionable on Deebo Samuel because Darius Slay is the number one corner for the Eagles. If you want to go with him, he had a very good week 1. We're hoping he can do it again in week 2. But Brandon Ayuk probably be thrusted into some more snaps after just a disciplinary week 1. So we expect a bounce back for Ayuk, at least something in his direction, which would be changing. But we like Kittle. Questionable on Debo, despite the fact he had a great week 1. And then the running backs, they have some nice cheap options. Elijah Mitchell is the lead back for the 49ers with Raheem Mostert out for the season with a knee injury. He took over the reins. Trey Sermon will be activated for this week because they need another back. Obviously, 49ers, they rotate running backs, but Eli Mitchell should have an opportunity in week 2 to do what he did in week 1. So that is a positive. And then Miles Sanders is going to be our other option if you want to go to him at 6,900. Got 20 touches. Well, 20 looks pretty much. 15 rushes, 5 targets, only 4 receptions. Didn't get in the end zone. But he was splitting carries with Kenneth Gainwell, who they drafted in the 5th round out of Memphis. This dude is very, very dynamic. He technically had 2 touchdowns in week 1. One was called back from penalty. So you have to watch out. You have to watch out. Kenneth Gainwell is either waiting in the wings for Sanders to make a mistake, but they really like this kid. This dude has that LaShawn McCoy it factor. And you saw it, 9 for 37 and 2 receptions for 6 yards. It would have been a 3rd reception and another TD, and he would have outscored Sanders, which absolutely insane for a rookie. But we got to watch out for him too. But the main stack is going to be on the Philadelphia side. We love Hurts. We love Smith. We love Kittle bringing it back. All right. The next stack we're going to go to, and we're going to these 4 o'clock games, man. These games are jam-packed with action. Next game will be Atlanta and Tampa Bay. All right. This one is going to be one-sided as well. I'm going to stick with the Tom Brady side. Even though I do see a scenario where Matt Ryan is going to have to be in catch-up mode. He's going to probably have to throw a lot. You have 2 situations where you just got throwing quarterbacks, no rushing upside. So you can flip the coin. All right. If you needed to save some salary, I get it. You go with Matt Ryan, pair him with Calvin Ridley, and then you'll bring it back with whatever Tampa Bay option you choose, because there's a ton of options. So for this explanation, we're going to go with Tom Brady, even though it's more expensive. We're going to pair him with Mike Evans. I want to see a bounce back performance from Mike Evans. And this could be that seesaw thing we see all season with Tampa Bay. They have a myriad of options on their offense. And Mike Evans, this could be his week to bounce back because he had a poor performance in week 1. It's probably wasn't poor. It's just that Tom Brady just felt like throwing to Gronk and Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin for week 1, all right? It could be a totally different story for the next week. It's going to be hard to figure out. We're taking shots, all right? We're throwing darts at this. That's why you got to make multiple lineups. So Tom Brady, Mike Evans. If I want to bring it back with a second guy, I want to bring it back with either or, Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown. Technically, you can go with all 3 if you're really feeling bullish, because how dynamic and how high scoring the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. But these are all options you want in your Buccaneer stack. And then we want to bring it back with Calvin Ridley. And also we want to bring it back with a Kyle Pitts as well. Kyle Pitts didn't get, have a huge game. But 4 for 31 was promising. The 8 targets was promising. He played almost he almost ran a route on every single offensive play that was a pass. So that was a positive. He was out there. It's just that they did not connect. And obviously it probably was 4 incompletions, but the production is there. We just need them to connect more. All right. So I would focus in on those 2. If I'm choosing a running back in this game, it's going to be Leonard Fournette for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald Jones is having fumble problems yet again, and Arians was not playing any games. They quickly went to Fournette, and he was the lead back, getting rushing work and passing work. As you can see, 9 to 32. And then in the receiving game, 5 for 27 on 7 targets. That is a high volume right there. They trust this guy. They trusted him last year in the playoffs, and they rid him in the Super Bowl. So we love Leonard Fournette. If we're going to do a Tampa Bay Atlanta and just have a cheap option to throw in there, he could be a one-off in another stack that you have. But he's a very nice cheap price at 5,100. So we're going to go with Leonard Fournette. Next stack is going to be the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers. This game is currently at 55 over under. This one could go clearly to 60 and above. With the injuries on the Dallas side, that's another boost. With the injury to Bulaga on the Chargers side, that's another boost. So this could be crazy. This could be an absolute 40 in the 40s type of game, which would be super exciting for fantasy. I want to stack either side. It doesn't matter. 6,800 Prescott and 6,700 Herbert. You don't lose. Obviously, Prescott has that humongous upside to get you 40 because he had, 3 500-yard games last year. He has some rushing upside as well in this first game against Tampa Bay. And he abused the Tampa Bay defense, which was, top 3 last year. He had 403 yards passing, 3 TDs, and threw in some rushing attempts. So Dak Prescott is going to be one of my favorite quarterbacks for week 2. And you obviously want to pair him with Cooper and you want to pair him with CeeDee Lamb. These guys are both getting over a 20% target share in the offense, and they feasted on Tampa Bay's defense. 17 targets for Amari Cooper, had 2 touchdowns, explosive game. CeeDee Lamb had 15 targets of his own and a touchdown, 104 yards. And if you want to have a cheap option, because those are going to be the 2 obvious guys, with Michael Gallup out, Cedric Wilson had a nice target share in this game, and he's going to be one of the cheaper options to look for. He was getting some work with Gallup healthy as well. Now, with him out, those 3 wide receiver sets are going to be Gallup, Lamb, and Cedric Wilson. All right, and they're going to alternate spots. Some's going to be in the slot, some's going to be in the outside. This is definitely something to look forward for if you're looking for a cheap punt wide receiver. Wilson can be your guy. We'll throw him in there as well. What I want to bring it back with, I want to bring it back with not only Keenan Allen, who's a surefire PPR monster. He had another 9-catch, 100-yard game. Didn't get an end zone, but still got you 22 DraftKings points. But we're going to go with Mike Williams as well. This dude, as long as he stays healthy, is an absolute monster. 8 for 82, 1 TD. Big body wide receiver with the catch radius and speed combination. Mike Williams at 6,100 is a solid play as well. And you still have plenty of salary. So if you wanted to go to the running backs, obviously Zeke, we expect a better game from him. Only had 11 rushing attempts. I think they were trying to do the passing game to match Tampa Bay. Hopefully they run just a little bit more. Maybe Ezekiel Elliott gets a little more catches, but he is at a cheaper price than he was in week 1 at 6,200 if you want to go to Zeke. Eckler, I'll throw him in here, but he's going to be on the more expensive side. And the downgrade was that he did not get any receiving work. This is what you paid up for. Obviously, he made up for it with a touchdown, but if it wasn't for that, it would have been a very, very ugly game. We're expecting more out of him. I hope I don't see another game with him with no receptions. I understand he has a hamstring injury, but that's Eckler's bread and butter is the receiving game. So if he's not getting any receiving work and they're splitting carries with Larry Roundtree, then I don't know what you paid for a first round. I don't get it. So we'll see. We're not going to panic. It's 17 games, so we're not going to panic. I think I like, if I had to choose, dang, that's ugly. I think I would choose Zeke over Eckler just because of the price discrepancy. And the split work, even though Tony Pollard gets a decent amount, I think Roundtree, what we saw out of him was a little more concerning out of him, especially with the the injury history out of Eckler. I don't want you to pay 7,300 and he's not even getting receptions. At least Zeke had a couple looks here and there. But that's what we like for that Dallas and Chargers game. I love the Prescott stack. If you wanted to flip it, obviously you throw Herbert in there. You match him with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, bring him back with either Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, or Cedric Wilson, depending on your salary. All right. And then one of our last stacks that we got for this video is going to be back to the well, Seattle and Tennessee that we got right here. And we're going back to Russ Wilson, man. Let Russ cook. That's 100% for sure. Going against a very poor pass defense. We saw what happened in week 1. I think Russell Wilson is going to have a field day against them in week 2. And we're going to go back to the well, double stack it. We'll go Metcalf and we'll go Lockett. These are both solid options. Dwayne Eskridge is probably going to be out. So if you're looking for a tight end, Gerald Everett could be that guy that steps up. He had a touchdown last week for 2 for 20. Very big, speedy tight end. Got away from the LA Rams and now Seattle. He's in a nice home over here where he can be the number 1. I like that out of him. And definitely one of my favorite plays is going to be Chris Carson. As long as he's healthy, he's going to get the work. I mean, he's going to get the attempts, as you can see, 16 and 91, and get the receiving work with 3 and 26. Also, the fact that Rashad Penny is out, they're really going to have to lean on Chris Carson. The backup after him is going to be DJ Dallas. He's a boom bust guy, but Carson is the main leader for Seattle in that rushing side. Now, this could be another game script where Derrick Henry could be out of it. If Seattle gets up big, we could see a similar scenario of what happened in week 1. So I want you to be careful about that. He shockingly got 3 receptions, but that's not what we expect out of him each and every game. The key to him is getting those rushing yards and TDs. So it would have to fall in the favor of Tennessee being up and controlling the game if you really want Derrick Henry. So I would lean away from that in this type of what could be a crazy shootout. And we're going to go to the well with A.J. Brown, who had a down game, and he still got you a touchdown. So this man is going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league for a very long time. He was held back just a little bit, but still was able to get in the end zone. That's how good he is. 4 for 49 in the touchdown. I expect a 100-yard game from him. I expect a bounce-back performance from Ryan Tannehill as well. So if you wanted to bring a stack back, switch it from Wilson, have it with Tannehill. He has similar upside, obviously passing the ball. The line struggled going against Chandler Jones. I don't see that type of pass rush in Seattle. So I think Ryan Tannehill is also another good play in your DraftKings lineups if you wanted to switch it up. Tannehill has the rushing upside as well. Got you a TD to salvage your day. And if you wanted to go with him, obviously we pair him with A.J. Brown. And don't forget about Julio Jones. A poor performance in week 1, but you don't expect that out of him, the veteran, each and every week. I think these guys are going to be very explosive. It's just going to take some time to start it up between Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. Don't be shy going back to this well, all right? We love this stack, okay? Obviously, you'll cut if you have too much salary, you'll cut and pick and choose some guys. You'll just probably do a Wilson and Lockett or Wilson and Metcalf and bring it back with one of the Tennessee guys, all right, or 2, and then you'll pick and choose your one-offs, okay? So that is going to be our final stack. We're focusing on, yet again, 49ers and Philly, Atlanta and Tampa Bay, Dallas and the Chargers, and the Tennessee and Seattle game. So some of my favorite one-offs for week 2. I spoke about Chris Carson in the running back section. The next guy I do like will be Melvin Gordon. We saw how it was a complete split between him and Javonte Williams. Williams got a little more carries out of this situation, but the lead back or the person that gets the first rushes is going to be Melvin Gordon. We saw a positive game script out of him. 11 for 101, which pretty much was one run, but also got 3 receptions and 17 yards. If you're in the red zone at that goal line, we'll see who they go with. That's going to be something to learn. But the matchup is the reason why I love Gordon, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars, who allowed Mark Ingram to have a field day, and that's embarrassing. So if Mark Ingram can go for like 82 yards, a touchdown, and this and that, then Melvin Gordon damn sure will as well. All right, and we love him at that 5,900 price. Next one-off guy we got at the running back position will be Kareem Hunt. Very dangerous, dynamic running back, especially in PPR leagues or the PPR format, which Draftkings is. Pretty much almost outscored Nick Chubb if it wasn't for Nick Chubb getting 2 touchdowns. That's the thing I don't like about Nick Chubb. You get Nick Chubb in the PPR league, and you really, really need 100 yards, a TD, and probably you need 2 TDs. That's not going to happen every week. Kareem Hunt gets there just off of little dinks and dunks and a couple runs, maybe 1 rushing TD, but he gets there with volume, with receptions, and that's the key. I'd rather wait a couple rounds or just wait and pay for the cheaper guy. And Kareem Hunt, who's going to get, especially if it's a blowout against the Houston Texans, he's going to get the cleanup work. So give me Kareem Hunt. So we'll go with Kareem Hunt. We love him. I already spoke about Elijah Mitchell. Another cheap running back that we like for week 2 is going to be Chase Edmonds, going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously splitting some carries with James Conner, but the lead guy, the guy that's going to get some work in the first downs and third down situations, is going to be Chase Edmonds. 12 attempts, 63 yards, 4 receptions, 43 yards. We just want that opportunity to get in the end zone, but very solid performance for someone that you're going to pay around $4K. He's giving you almost 4 times your money. If he's 4Xing, then that's really good. He would have really had a great day if he got in the end zone, but I like what I see out of him, especially against Minnesota's defense, how they struggled against Joe Mixon. Chase Edmonds is that similar guy that can run and receive, so we like him at that price at 4,900 if you're saving salary. And then last but not least is going to be Nyheim Hines. In the PPR format, he is absolute gold. Nyheim Hines, Indianapolis, you expect the Rams to dominate the Colts and get all these cheap dump down catches. He had 9 for 34 and then also had 6 for 48. He had 8 targets. All right. They already seen a questionable out of Michael Pittman. There's no T.Y. Hilton. The next extension to their passing game will be Nyheim Hines, obviously Jonathan Taylor, but we're trying to save salary here, and he's getting a ton of looks. 4,700. I love these 2 cheap guys between Hines and Edmonds. Okay, the one-offs for the wide receiver position. We're going to start off with Jarvis Landry in this Houston and Cleveland game. With no Odell Beckham, Landry kind of becomes that number 1. We want him to get in the end zone more, hopefully from receptions. He got in the end zone by rushing. So they get really creative with no Odell, and they're more of a free-flowing team. He had 5 for 71. Obviously, the volume with the Browns is going to be up and down, especially in a scenario where they might be in a blowout. But hopefully, before they get in that blowout, Jarvis Landry is that guy. And I'm going to take advantage of it. As long as Odell's out, I like the price of Jarvis Landry at 6,300. Next guy we're going to go with will be Allen Robinson going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati had some struggles with Minnesota in their receivings, wide receivers with Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and KJ Osborne. Allen Robinson is a target monster. Had an okay day against the Rams, but in a plus matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, I expect 6,200 Allen Robinson to go to that next level, probably get 20 DK points. He's a sneaky wide receiver to have in your lineups. He's a number 1, and he will definitely be forgotten about with a lot of lineups. All right. Next guy we're going to talk about is Robert Woods for the Rams. We're going back to the well here. Bob Woods right here. Cooper Kupp is the PPR guy. Robert Woods is more intermediate, deep guy, just a mix of everything. But he had a nice connection with Matthew Stafford in week 1. I expect that yet again in week 2. The one-offs with these two guys between Cup and Woods can alternate each and every week. Because of how talented Stafford is, I expect explosive weeks for, both of these receivers on a consistent basis. He saves you with a touchdown. They use them, obviously, in the rushing game as well. But I expect a big, big game from Woods going up against the Colts without Xavier Rhodes in week 2. All right, so we like him at that 5,700 price. Next guy we're going to go with will be Corey Davis. I got to throw in a jet here and there, but this one is a solid option. He is the number 1 wide receiver for the New York Jets. Nice connection with Zach Wilson. No Stephon Gilmore for the Patriots. This is not your same Patriots defense. This is not your same Patriots team with no Tom Brady as well. I expect a nice connection yet again with the home opener for the Jets in week 2 with Corey Davis and Zach Wilson. He loved targeting him. And they have something nice going. We saw it in preseason. We saw it in week 1. At this cheap price, you're getting a number 1 wide receiver. Why not throw him in there at that flex position? Next guy is going to be Christian Kirk that we got for Arizona with Larry Fitzgerald out. He took over that slot spot, and he did that in college. So this is a perfect fit for him. A lot of people were just talking about Rondale Moore, but he only got like 26% of the routes. Christian Kirk was the number 2 wide receiver in this offense, and he made leaps and bounds. He took advantage of it. 5 for 70 and 2 TDs. He did this last season where he was really a nice deep guy because he couldn't play the slot, but he has that knack to get in the end zone, and I like what I see out of him. I can't believe we kind of forgot about him. We saw AJ Green, but everyone should know that AJ Green is washed up. A cheap price for number 2 wide receiver in this offense. Christian Kirk is a great option going up against the Minnesota Vikings. All right, who saw Jamar Chase go off? All right. Next is going to be Laviska Shenault from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, we expect the Jaguars to play catch up. The slot guy in this offense who should get a lot of targets, as you can see, 10 targets, 7 receptions for 50 yards. We want him to get in the end zone and use them in some end-around situations. Shenault is a definite play in this game going up against Denver, avoiding their outside corners, focusing on their interior, and I think him and Trevor Lawrence will connect some more. They had a big performance in preseason on multiple occasions. So 4,900, you're getting someone that's going to get 10 targets plus. We like Shenault in there as well. So let me put him in there for you. And then last but not least is going to be Tim Patrick for the Denver Broncos. With the injury to Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick becomes that new intermediate wide receiver. Obviously, Sutton is the big body guy. KJ Hamler is the gadget guy. The middle guy will be between Tim Patrick and the tight ends for the Broncos. So 4 for 39. He connected with Teddy Bridgewater and a touchdown. He looked for him frequently if you just watch the game. Even obviously got in some work while Jerry Jeudy was healthy, but he took full advantage of it at 4,600. That is a nice cheap price to go for your wide receiver. Now, last but not least is going to be my favorite one-offs for your tight end position, and that will be obviously Tyler Conklin. We're going to go back to the well here. And where is he at? All right. With the injury to Irv Smith, Tyler Conklin is that number 1 tight end with the former Jet tight end being the backup. But Conklin is a very solid blocker. He's going to get a ton of snaps just because of that reasoning. And obviously he can catch as well. Rave reviews at a camp and did well with his limited amount of work, 4 receptions, 41 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but was very solid in his opportunities. And if you're looking for a punt tight end, I think you can definitely go to Tyler Conklin in what should be a very high-scoring game between Minnesota and Arizona. And then the next guy we got will be Tyler Higbee, continuing with our love for the Rams and the connection between Stafford with Woods and Cup. Higbee was used frequently. They had a couple of tight end screens, and he was able to produce 5 receptions, 68 yards on 6 targets. Didn't get in the end zone, but we saw the usage. And someone, as long as you're getting us 10 from that cheap tight end position, then we are fine, and you should be able to cash and possibly get high in the rankings for your tournaments. Last but not least, and I spoke about this before, with the injury to Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, and a Julie Boonham will step up in that tight end position and be used frequently. And Noah Fant was 8 targets, 62 yards on 6 receptions. Didn't get in the end zone. A Julie Boonham did. So that was a little bit of a downfall. Just got to be careful because they are sharing snaps. But Noah Fant is a very dynamic tight end, young tight end, and we expect him to step up with the absence of Jerry Jeudy. All right. So that is going to be our video for week 2 stacks. I gave you the top stacks that I love. I also gave you some one-offs. Let me know in that comment section below if you disagree or if you have any other ideas of who you like to go with for week 2. But we'll see, all right? Good luck to everyone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD, and I'll be back with another video. Peace out.